Well, hello there, motherfuckers. It is time for another movie review. We got 22 Jump Street on tap today. Now, this movie, took me a while to get to this review actually, but sort of a week ago, sort of last week. And I have to say, um, can't say I'm really impressed because I kind of knew it was going to be good. I mean, the trailer alone, even though, in trailers they can't use the most vulgar jokes, you could just, you know, when you see that the trailer is funny for a comedy, it's hilarious, you just know it's going to be good. And I am very, very stingy. I think everybody knows that from when I do movie reviews here on on YouTube. And I mean, like, you even see for how I even talk about Spider-Man and everything. Doesn't care if something's near and dear to my heart. If something sucks, I will say it. But, this was one of the few movies where I actually set my expectations pretty high. And they were met, which is very, very rare. Usually when my expectations nowadays have improved. As everybody knows, I set my expectations very low for Spider-Man, and, really, I was still disappointed, but still, I came away from it with a little bit of entertainment. Wasn't bored, but, then again, there was a lot of things that I didn't like. Now, this is a movie, weird comparison there, but, just saying how my mind works when it comes to film. Usually, I'm a person who doesn't really get too excited for a movie. That's usually where the disappointment comes in. When you set the bar too high, that's the problem. Too many people out there always, oh, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be the best movie ever. And, if you're not really too much of a film aficionado, if you have that attitude, you probably don't really appreciate film the way you should. It might sound very elitist, but that's just the way how it is. You gotta see a film and really just not overhype it for yourself. But, this I had a pretty strong feeling about. Jonah Hill is just very, very talented when it comes to comedy. Channing Tatum, everybody had such low expectations for. And, a lot of people hated him, thinking he was just going to be the lunkhead, the guy from G.I. Joe, just, the pretty boy, and he wasn't going to add a lot to the film. And he proved everybody wrong in 21 Jump Street. And if anything, he further developed his character in this movie. And that's what I want to say. This movie, if anything, might be funnier than 21. I mean, very rarely in the film. I mean, I've seen some great comedies, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Wedding Crashers come to mind. These great comedies come very, very few and far between. I don't even really go out to see most of them because they just look so fucking horrible in the trailer. And then they just end up getting lousy reviews anyway, so I don't even bother. I see a Ben Stiller comedy, I see an Adam Sandler comedy, and I just know to stay away. There's just some things when it comes to the world of film you just come to expect, and you just know how to analyze it beforehand, before, something horrible happens, before you fucking go blind from some terrible fucking movie. You just kind of know what to expect nowadays, or you really should. When you reach a certain age, you kind of know when a movie's just going to blow. But anyway, few and far between comes a good comedy. This was really, really, a very funny one. Just consistently great jokes. It's just the wit, the speed, the timing of the jokes. Everything just falls into place. Just, almost seeming like impossible at times. The two actors could have such great chemistry and work off of one another. It's almost like Wedding Crashers with Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn before Vince Vaughn became completely irrelevant. But this is even better, even more wit, just consistently funny the whole way through. Just the jokes, a range of topics, twists and turns with the comedy things. There's one surprise in here that's going to completely blow your mind, and it's with Ice Cube. And this is probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen Ice Cube do just anywhere on TV. You know, outside of the whole Jump Street series, I've never been a very big fan of Ice Cube's, acting. Not a big fan of the Friday movies. I know that those movies have a big fucking following, but they're just not for me. That's not what I find funny at all. I don't really get that type of humor. I mean, I get it, and I don't find it funny. But anyway, this Ice Cube is very fucking funny in this movie. Hilarious. I mean, after you see that twist, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it is just, it's great, and it's great comedy writing. And once again, the timing comes into place. And timing, I mean, any great comedian or any great director, producer, writer, when it comes to comedy, will tell you timing is everything. The jokes and where they're inserted in, and the wit and the delivery, is it's just all there, and everything just falls into place. And the plot plays second fiddle. I mean, but that's not to say that the plot isn't decent enough for a comedy. It makes sense enough. It's nothing too absurd or crazy. I mean, maybe they're undercover in college, and there's even jokes about Jonah Hill's age. The fact that in real life he really is in his 30s. But just nothing too over the top, where it's just where you got the face palm. I mean, it's good enough where you don't really you suspend your disbelief during certain scenes, of course, for the benefit of the comedy. But it's nothing really too crazy. It's never nothing retarded or stupid. And the one thing I want to say about the Channing Tatum haters, he has played this role so well, where his lack of intelligence, they play off of it so well. It's done in such a way, done with such wit. There's so many scenes in here that, while maybe they're not entirely unique, they're pulled off better than a lot of other comedies have used similar scenarios. So that definitely is something you have to see to appreciate. And it's a lot of things. It's, a little bit difficult to review a kind of movie like this, because when it comes to comedy, I don't want to tell you any of the jokes. That would just completely ruin the point of seeing a comedy if you know the jokes beforehand. Obviously, I'm not delivering them the same way if I were to tell them to you. It would just ruin it pretty much, and there's no point in really telling the jokes here in the review. But there are a lot of good ones, and running jokes and running gags throughout the film. There are, something that's really tiresome, but they actually pull it off pretty well. There's even gay jokes in here that are funny. Now most people would say, the 90s called and they want their gay jokes back. Jokes I've been hearing since elementary school, gay jokes, but they're performed in such a way with unique delivery. I think that's the thing. You can actually tell the same joke that's been told 1,000 different times, almost like The Aristocrats, but that movie sucked because that joke wasn't funny. But the delivery of a joke is everything. And so, you could see like these gay jokes that have been done before, where they make like Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill are like in a relationship. Once again, I won't spoil it, but you'll be like, just hearing this review, you'll be like, oh wow, because they're partners, so partners. But trust me, the way how it's done and the expert comedic acting definitely more than makes up for this familiar ground. So yeah, I just really enjoyed this movie. How would I rate it? I don't know if I went back and watched this movie again. That's always the mark of a great comedy. If you could go back and watch it again, and it's as funny as it was the first time, or even funnier the second time, because you missed a lot of jokes the first time and didn't really appreciate them because you didn't look at it in a certain way. So, I don't know. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself with the rating, but, definitely on the classic star rating, I'll sure as hell give it above 3 stars. Possibly 3.5. If the second time holds up, I'll definitely give it that rating. Yeah. Definite recommendation. If you love 21 Jump Street, you will eat this up. If you didn't like 21 Jump Street, then you will hate it. It's basically the same type of humor. It's it's improved. It's more consistently funny, even though I didn't have any problems with the consistency of the humor in 21 Jump Street, but it's even funnier. I found myself laughing even harder, and I don't know if that's maybe because 2 years older than I saw it the last time. Maybe you know. I'm getting more adapted to this type of humor. I'm finding it funnier. But yeah, I only saw 21 Jump Street once, so maybe I have to go back and watch that again. Like I said, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself because I just saw this more recently. But anyway, regardless, if you like 21 Jump Street, go see this movie. You will not be disappointed. But if you hated 21 Jump Street, then you're going to hate this one too. You're going to really fucking hate it bad. It's not your sense of humor then. But, see, that's the weird thing about comedies. What's hard to rate it is people will find certain things funny and others won't. So, you might disagree with my type of humor, just like any video I do on here. If you don't really like some of the more vulgar humor I do in my reviews, it's not for everybody. I get that, So, this is what I thought of it. When I review films, I'm telling you what I thought, not what I think the general. Some people do this style of review where they're talking about, the general audience and what they feel would be, like a good movie for the general public, like how they would conceive it. That's not how I review it. Basically, I found it very funny. You might not. That's just how it is. I'm just saying this. I'm giving like a disclaimer because I know that people will argue with me and they'll criticize my sense of humor because they did not find the film funny. I am basing the recommendation based on my sense of humor. All right, so there you go. Good movie. Go see it. If you loved the first one, you will adore the second one. All right.